What do you say, baseball fans? Rye Red talking baseball, episode 22. Deuces. Getting up there. Great slate of MLB action all over the weekend. Tasty pitching matchups. Our quest to find the best between the East and the West continues. Some superlatives. What is your quest? I seek the Grail. And a wild card berth. That A's-Rays series could very well be a wild card game. My goodness, that was a great series. Evenly matched teams, a great call. Dallas, Braden, and Kipe. I couldn't think of a better squad to be watching when that horrible replay incident happened, and they refused to change the call even though Elvis was clearly safe. I feel it was fortuitous because I was listening to an interview Braden gave on Wake and Rake earlier, and he had brought up Hawk Harrelson, and it got me down this rabbit hole, and I was like, all right, I'm going to check him out. If you've never seen Hawk Harrelson bits, you should go check that out. You got to be bleeping me. What are you doing, Wegner? He's brutal. There's one against the Rays. It's absolutely appointment television. You got to go check it out. I'll link it. It's too good. I won't do it here because I can't do it any justice. But Dallas Braden's talking about Hawk, and I'm like, man, I'm down with Hawk. So I gave him a chance, and it was awesome. Switch up your telecast every once in a while, guys. I love Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson doing the telecast for my team. I feel lucky that my favorite team is called by those two guys, pros, who bring a little personality in the box. BA brings his personality into the box. He's a little goofy, but, man, it's fun. I'm lucky that they're calling my games. And Dwayne Stats, the total pro. When I was a nobody radio guy, when that was a circus show over there and that old regime running things in Tampa Bay, it was a joke over there. But he was a pro and always nice. So never forgot that about Dwayne. It just mix it up a bit. Because Dallas Braden's a gem. If you haven't heard this guy call a game, it's fantastic. And it'll be awesome if we get them in the playoffs. I can't imagine how good the call would be. But the story of that series was the pitching. Shane McClanahan, are you kidding me? 100-mile-per-hour cheese from the left side with arm side run. It was moving like a wiffle ball. But he was killing people with the slider. McClanahan looked fantastic. And then they followed up with Patino. That's going to be a great 1-2 punch for the Rays if they keep it going. And we've been talking about it all year. That shadow rotation they have down there in the alternate training site is better than the big league rotation. Glasnow, come on. I'm not being stupid. It's just if you put the alternate training site guys under Glasnow, it's a lot more formidable. It's just there's going to be a lot of innings limits on these guys. They're not ready for a big output. So they're spreading the load already. Rays have used more players than anybody else already. Their depth is going to help that team. The Rays are going to be better than people think. The A's are an excellent team, and my goodness, that series could not have been closer. Could have gone 3-1 either way. So I'm really pleased with how that shook out. And now the Astros come into town. That's a great series shaping up for this weekend. And that puts us in Mets at Phillies. Let's figure something out in the NL East, huh? The Marlins are a half game out. The Marlins have a positive run differential in the NL East, unlike the rest of them. That division is messy, and the teams are going to sort it out a little bit this weekend. I want to see what happens, Mets and Phillies. Mets aren't hitting, and they're running into a Phillies pitching staff that's not going to help them out. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I think the Phillies are going to win. I think the Phillies take that series. Houston, like we said, going to Tampa Bay. Boston going to Texas. Baltimore is going to Oakland. I think I misspoke yesterday. Baltimore going to Oakland. But Oakland and Boston need to win these games against the lesser opponents in the opposing division, like we've been tracking. Angels and Mariners going to do it out in Seattle. Seattle's limping home, stole a game yesterday. Thank goodness for them. They've been playing well against tough competition. Seattle ends up winning 1-0 at Houston. Needed Kikuchi to go into the 7th with a no-no to get out of there with a win. Houston's tough, especially at home. But I expect Seattle to give the Angels all they can handle in their place. The Angels aren't playing their best ball right now. And frankly, Seattle is hungry. They've been getting knocked around by a lot of good teams, and they're going home. I expect Seattle to win this series. The Angels need to step it up, and I think they're running into Seattle at the wrong time. And then you can't forget San Francisco at San Diego, I hope, is the electric matchup that I've got it built up to be. But San Diego needs these games because Arizona's the hottest team in the National League. They've won 8 of their last 10. And they've played the Padres in that stretch. Arizona's in Colorado where they won last night. I'm not worried about Arizona per se, but it's not out of the question that Arizona's ahead of the Padres in the standings first week of May unless the Padres handle the Giants. And the Giants' run differentials at plus 24, they're playing great baseball. Nobody's really talking about them. I expect to see exciting baseball out of the Padres. They need that series. And I don't know if they're going to get it because their pitching seems a little bit whack to me. And you know that Darvish is great, but for some reason for me, it doesn't work. Against San Francisco, I think San Francisco loses this game, but keep an eye on Darvish. I'm not confident on Darvish from what I've seen so far for some reason. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling. Brewers beat the Dodgers last night, so that's good news for all of those West teams. Great game. 2-1 Brewers. Bad news on Corbin Burns. He's on the IL. The Brewers have been hurt. Yelich has been out, and they're still in first place. They've got Freddie Peralta tonight, and then they've got Woodruff tomorrow against the Dodgers. I wonder if that was by accident. Brew Crew looking tough, leading the Central. They're our pick in the Central. From last night's action, I have to touch on Rodon cased 12 Tigers in a 7-inning game. It's embarrassing, but he's amazing. And the White Sox are the hottest team in the American League, winning 8 of their last 10. And Alzolay yesterday. We highlighted Adbert Alzolay because he kept getting runs tacked on by the bullpen. And yesterday, he picks up the W with the slide piece. He was a good prospect before he developed the slider. Now the slider's his best pitch, and he's in the big leagues. I expect a lot of helium in his DFS number. He's going to continue to rise up that price board because he's good. I don't know if you watched any of his games. The Cubs have a large fan base, and it's easy to get a Cubs game on. And if you see Adbert Alzolay's going, check him out for a couple innings. Good pitcher. And a young good pitcher. And that takes us out. JT Brubaker, appointment pitcher. You know I love watching him. Pittsburgh's hosting St. Louis. And then Skubal and Cole are locking up in New York. Skubal's a good pitcher, but I expect New York to dominate here. Tigers are not playing well. Cole, you know he's got a bad taste in his mouth. He's going to go out there and dominate. I feel sorry for the Tigers today. But I included them in a parlay. Brady, Singer, and Pineda. KC at Minnesota. Kansas City's 7 games up on Minnesota right now. It's early, but you are what your record says. So in this parlay, Singer versus Pineda, Kansas City at Minnesota. I've got the Yankees on the money line and Kansas City on the money line in a 2-team parlay. That's a plus 185. Now, I'm only doing $10 on these, but I feel like it's giving some accountability to me making picks. It's really easy to come in here and just spout off some picks. And though $10 isn't a lot of money, I don't plan on doing it very often, but at least I'm putting my money where my mouth is, at least in some regard. So I'm not just spouting off for no reason. I think that Kansas City wins tonight. I think Kansas City's just playing better than Minnesota, and Kansas City's not even playing their best baseball yet. So look out, Minnesota. And Minnesota needs these games. If Minnesota winds up out of this series still 7 games back, oh man, or 8 games back, they need to pick up a game. They need to pick up a game here. That's going to do it for today. We've got a lot of great matchups. Get at me on Twitter at RyeBread0844. If you're in the Trop, make sure Bascom's Chop House is where you're going to get the best steak and wine list in the city. Tell them I sent you. You won't regret it. Thanks for listening today. We'll be back again tomorrow because I'm going to do 162.